Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new expansion, Revenants of Azvaldt. But before we get to that, I do want to talk a little bit about the cards that will be leaving us today. So, a couple main big cards we're going to touch on. We're just going to look at them in general, and then we'll talk about how I think that those are going to affect the meta. Afterwards, we're going to go through each of the classes, starting with neutral, then forest, so on and so forth, and go through the new cards they're receiving and see how I feel like they're going to replace or just affect the changes in the meta. So we're going to start with the cards in Heirs of the Omen, which is the set that is rotating. So taking a look at this, couple key notes here of things that are going out that we've been seeing played pretty consistently this expansion. We're losing Shamnacha, which means that we are going to lose the Mode Abyss. So unfortunately, Shamnacha is gone. We'll no longer have that form. Otherwise, Nation of Disdain, we saw a little bit of dragons use it early on. That's the one that when you activated it deals 1 damage to all followers, so that's rotating out. Castle of Entwining, another mode card. We're losing support for Destruction Portal with Devastating Soprano and Wasteland of Destruction. Dogged One rotating makes the Milteo list a little bit worse. Gilnalese is a hugely important card in a lot of decks. It's been one of the sort of key cards of this expansion. So seeing this rotate out, we're going to see potentially a lot less healing. So other than that, nothing else really jumping out on this page. Let's take a look at the next one. More mode loss, which isn't surprising. Again, Destruction Portal losing pretty much all of its support here. Cruel is rotating, which is going to be a bit rough for our forest friends. This is a pretty good staple card in a lot of forest lists. We haven't seen much Crest Portal this expansion, or not Crest Portal, Crest Haven this expansion due to the Bahamut. It just straight up, you lose if you play Crest Portal into Bahamut. So I don't think it's going to affect much losing Marwyn, but it is a little bit sad. I did like the Crest Haven playstyle back in the day. Other than that, losing a little bit of amulet support here on Haven. There goes your last key card to Destruction Portal, so Destruction Portal is dead. Galmio is a big loss for Dragon. You see, this deck pretty consistently used in all of the Dragon lists, so seeing this rotate out is, it's a little sad for our Dragon friends. Top of the list here, we've got a couple others, more mode loss. We haven't seen, this sword list, what's the word? I'll just click into it and find it. The loot cards. We haven't seen Loot Sword in a hot minute, so I'm not too worried about this one going out. Some more destruction loss, some more mode loss. Azudia, I loved the Azudia Forest list back in the day, but it is dead too. Congregant also is a key card in the buff forest, so losing that kind of hurts for anybody who's still holding on to that build. But we'll see if anything can replace it here as we move into the current and upcoming expansion here, just to take a look and see what the heck is going to happen with the various decks. So let's go ahead and switch over to that. Alrighty, we are going to start with neutral cards. So taking a look at neutrals, we've got Initiation of Rebirth, which is add a copy of a random allied follower, destroy this match with the highest base cost to your deck without revealing it, and draw a card. This has some potential tech. Initial thing that comes to mind is a Lin Call. Obviously not as good because of the fact that it's the highest base cost. So anything you play after Lin Call means that this is going to be kind of useless. So I think that there are other tutors for that, so I don't think this will be helpful with that list. It might be helpful with some sort of combo that I haven't run into yet. Warden of Selflessness. We've got add a Jailer of Antiquity to your hand, which is a 6/6. Deal it 6 damage, deal 2 damage to a random unselected enemy follower, so it's just a bunch of weirdness. With an evolve, recover 1 play point. This seems okay. I think this will be a good take 2 card, but I don't think it's going to be super strong in the actual meta. These are the 2 cards that go together. Blade Angel, select 2 other allied followers in the field, give them +3/+3. For 7 as a 6/6, that feels really weak. I don't see that getting a lot of play. Azvaldt, Penitentiary of Chaos. At the end of your turn, if you play cards with a base cost of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, destroy this card, and it summons a copy of each of 4 random differently named allied followers destroyed this match, and gives all allied followers in the field +3/+3. I could see somebody trying to make a deck tech out of this for sure. I'll have to go through the rest of the expansion before I decide whether or not this is good or not. My guess is this is going to be kind of a meme card, which, hey, I like some meme decks. Lastly, we have Zerael, Surrendered Rebirth, which is the end of turn if you played cards with base cost. Okay, so this is continued support of the playing 1 of each mana cost. Select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 9 damage. So you invoke it if you've done the thing where you played everything. So this is interesting. I'm curious who is going to run a deck like this. I'm, like I said, interested to see what the rest of the various classes look like, because that could be really, really cool and really fun and really memey, but we'll see. Okay, taking a look at Forest here, we've got Sprouting Initiate. The Sprouting Initiate is a 1-cost 1/1 with Rush with a combo of 3 draw card. Pretty basic sort of combo Forest, which I'm curious to see if they're going to support that, and we're going to move back into that general area. Next up, we've got Leaf Shadow Assassin, Fanfare, add a fairy to your hand, combo 3 Bane. That's cool. So essentially, it's another combo card. If you get 3 combo, you get a fairy, which is 1/1 Rush with Bane. So, neat. Virid Lieutenant is another combo 3, draw 2 cards, so it's a lot of combos, a lot of low-cost 4 stuff so far. Select an allied follower on the field, give it +1/+1 to Rush. This seems okay. Again, if we're moving with low-cost stuff, though, and like playing sort of low-cost card vomit in terms of Forest, I could see this being pretty solid. But since Roach isn't a thing anymore, we're going to have to see some sort of payoff as we get through the rest of Forest here. Verdant Ring Kindred, select a mode, combo 3, activate all of them. So same, supporting that combo 3, deal 4 to a random follower, add a Deepwood Bounty, which is the 0-cost heal, and then a fairy, which is a 1/1 4th Rush for 1. It seems, again, okay. The deal 4 is nice. Having something that you can clear something early on is a solid pull. Primate Plotters, we got add an extra copy of a random card in your opponent's hand without revealing it. Interesting, okay. So essentially, it's just pull something from your opponent's hand, and you can do it twice. So this allows you to see what your opponent has. It also gives you the opportunity to maybe play some weird stuff. This could be fun. This is another Mimi card that might have some value just because it has good tempo. It's a 3-cost 3/3. And it generates 2 cards, even if they are very random and from your opponent's hand. So, not bad, not bad. All right, first legendary of Forest. We've got Magachio, Aromatic Convict, which is a 3-cost 2/2. Select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 4 damage. On combo 3, you deal it to all enemy followers instead. And on Super Evolve, it gets Storm. That is solid. This is a good push card. It doesn't get much more than its base stat line, so it's going to get the standard +3/+3, so it'll be a 5 damage Storm, which isn't nothing, but it's so hard to justify using a Super Evolve on a 3-cost like this. So I don't know that we'll see this one hit a ton of play for the Super Evolve, but for the dealing damage card portion, I think this is going to be a pretty solid staple. I just don't think it's going to get too many of those Super Evos. All right, next up, we got Trap in the Woods. Whenever an enemy follower enters the field, destroy it, and this card. Oh, interesting. So it's like you put it is the worst kind of trap card. It's a face-up trap card. So you play this against something like, say, Dragon, where you know they're going to play something big. This is just going to kill it. But if he has anything else, it doesn't work out really well because he can play something cheap and then the big card that he cares about. But I could definitely see this teched in if we're seeing a lot of like big scary followers. This counters those and forces them to not play those and gives you a turn of tempo. So I could definitely see this being played. Crimson Insets is a gold. It activates in hand at the start of your turn. Combo 3, reduce the cost of the card by 1. Select an enemy follower and destroy it and draw a card. So this is very much continuing to kick into that combo 3, which we're seeing a lot with the forest cards this deck. We've got Jungle Youth, which is a 10-8 for 7. That is a hell of a stat line with Intimidate. Okay, fair play. Intimidate prevents the follower from being attacked by enemy followers. So this is just a big old boy. This is a 10-8 for 7, which is a crazy high stat line that has Intimidate, so it's definitely a check on your opponent, seeing if they have a way to remove such a big boy. This is going to be really good in like Take 2 But I'm curious if it'll see use in the standard format. I could definitely see it being good, but it's really going to depend on if the set has a lot of Intimidate followers, because if people are running Intimidate followers, by extension, people are going to run counters to Intimidate followers. So, could see it, could not see it. We'll see. Lastly, we've got Hien Redolent Revenant, which activates in hand whenever you play a card. Reduce the cost of this card by 1 until the end of the turn. So here's your combo payoff. Select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 4 damage. So you get it down cheap, and then you can play it and deal 4 damage to a follower. And then the last words, it resummons itself, it looks like. Yeah. So it just resummons itself. Okay, so that's, again, fine. I don't... It's a 4/4, so having something sticky on the board, especially if you can get this really cheap with a ton of combo, could be nice. But to be honest, I feel really underwhelmed by this as the top cost Forest Legendary. I think both of the Forest Legendaries are very much just okay, which makes me sad. I do like Forest, but is what it is. So let's go ahead and move on to Sword. So let's take a look at what Sword got this expansion. Sword tends to be Cygame's favorite, so I imagine there'll be some fun stuff in here. All right, first things first, open Sea Scout, just your normal 2/2, add a Gilded Boots, and you summon a Dread Pirate's Flag. Dread Pirate's Flag, whenever you play a spell, advance the count by 1, and it deals 2 damage to the enemy leader, so it's just a little bit of early aggression. And then the Gilded Boots, of course, gives you +1, +0, and Rush. We did see Loot sort of rotate out, so interesting to see them supporting it here. I'm wondering if there'll be a payoff as we move up through the list. Phalanx, summon Steelclad Knight, give it ward, standard. Enhance 6, summon 5 instead is pretty solid. Steelclad Knights are 2/2s, so you would get 5 2/2s with ward for 6 mana is pretty damn solid. If your opponent can't answer it, that's a decent, like, turn 5 with a coin is, I think that definitely can see play, especially in rally lists. 3-cost Whirlpool Gunner. It's a 3/1. Summon another Dread Pirate's Flag, which once again is going to do 2 damage after it runs out of points. And it's got Rush. So this is an okay card. I could definitely see this being run if we're shifting Sword to a more aggro list. Sever Ties. Enemy fall on the field, deal 5 damage. If this card's cost is 3, you add a cheaper version of Sever Ties. So you essentially get 2 of these. 1 for 3, 1 for 1. Kindred Cavalrywoman is a 5/5 4/4 with Rush and Ward. I think that's just a solid stat line, and anything with Rush on 4 is good. This could definitely see play. Laage d'Or. I'm sure I butchered that. Another Dread Pirate's Flag. Deal 2 damage to all enemy followers. Enhance 6, summon 2 flags, deal 4 to all enemy followers. Okay, this is a good board clear. I think that's fine. This is also, I'm noticing, a couple additional enhanced cards, so we might see a return in Enhanced Sword. That could be fun. I liked old school Enhanced Sword. I might actually try and make that deck first, because I think that has a lot of potential. All right, moving on to Ferocious Commander. We've got Fanfare, summon 2 copies of Steelclad Knight. So this is a 5-cost 4/4. You get 2 2/2s, and then on 7, you give them and this follower +3, +0, and Rush. I don't love that enhance. No defense on it. Makes them a little bit worse. It is potentially clear heavy, so this could be used to clear pretty well. But it's unlikely any of it would stick. And at 7 mana, you've got options like Cesar. You could theoretically go into Noel. So I think 7 is quite a better. There are better options. And then as for on 5 and just getting 2 copies of Steelclad Knight, we just had Kindred Cavalrywoman. Oh, not Kindred Cavalrywoman. Which one was it? One of them summoned. Oh, Phalanx. Phalanx for 2 just gives you 2 of them. So I think that you could probably do something else, something better with 3 mana. Rough Water for Smite. Select enemy follower, deal it 3. Okay, so this is just a 5 mana 3/3, deal 3. The replicating the effects on Evo is nice. Super Evolve isn't really useful here. You get a free Gilded Blade and Gilded Necklace. Super Evolves in general are going to be used for something a little bit more important than that, I think. Right, first legendary for sword, we got Barbaros, Rebellious Convict. You get a Dread Pilot flag, and you move a lot of the Dread Pilot flags down, and you get Storm. This is a much better 7-drop. This is definitely going to be a very aggro-based 7-drop, so I think that is going to be a very solid sword deck, a sort of aggro rally sword list with the legendary from one of the previous expansions that allows you to get the buffs on enhanced cards. I think that sort of mixture together might be a fun deck crafting. I'll have to look and see if that is something I want to play. I haven't been looking at these, but I'm going to now. Here's some alternate card art styles, so fun, nice. All right, what do we got? Lastly, we've got our 10-drop, the big boy for sword. It is a 2/12 for 10. It has Storm, Bane, Ward, Aura, and can attack 3 times per turn. So it can attack face. It has Bane, so it kills anything it hits. It has Ward, it has Aura, which means it cannot be selected by enemy abilities, and it attacks 3 times per turn. So at the very least, if he has nothing on the board, this is what, 2, 4, 6 damage face, or you can super evo it, which would put it at 5, so that's 15 damage to the face. So that could be crazy. So this is definitely a potentially powerful card. I will not be surprised if this ends up being kind of a bully card that we see pretty standard in most sword decks. 10 cost is a lot, yeah, but there's not a lot at the top end of sword that you're going to play, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a 1-off or a 2-off of this card. Alrighty, moving right along, that is the end of sword, so we're going to head straight into Runecraft. Alright, we got Miscalculated Experiments, which is add 3 copies of Truth Summons. Truth Summons is Clay Golems, so we got Golem Tech. Obsessed Test Subject. When this follower enters the field, if at least 5 other allied copies of Obsessed Test Subject have entered the field this match, give them +3/+3. So this is additional, you play a bunch of these, and you, I'm assuming there's going to be some synergy with this, because yeah, having 5 other allied copies is impossible unless you are able to create more of them. Noble Philosopher. Return your hand to deck, draw X. X is the number of cards you return. So this is just a straight up mulligan, like a hard mulligan. In Rune, this could be really, really good. So I won't be surprised to see this played. Humane Love. Here's your test subject synergy. You've got summon 1, give it +1/+0, and you add another one to your hand with +1/+0. Here's more test subject. This is a 1/1 for 4. You get 2 copies of the test subject, which once again is at 2/2 unless 5 others have been summoned. And then evolve, it gives one of them Bane. So if Obsessed Test Subject becomes a deck, that could be important. Aesthetic Scholar, it fuses with cards in general. Draw 2 cards, summon another Obsessed Test Subject, and then if you fuse to this card, you can super evolve and give 1 subject drain. That's fine. Again, not crazy cool, but it's decent, especially if you're gonna run this package. Summon 1, do 2 times, deal 7 to a random enemy follower. So this is just a high damage card for 5. It's 2 hits, 7 damage, plus summoning another one of these dudes. So definitely a good part of the package if you're gonna be running it. Key Spirit 4/3 for 7. Deal 4 to the enemy leader, so that's nice. Spell boost. Okay, so this is a spell boost card. Interesting. It's a 4 spell boost, which is nice on Evo. But for 7 mana, that is such an expensive spell boost. I don't see that getting a lot of play. Sephi, another fuse cards. Whenever you fuse, you can spend 2 play points. Here's the Obsessed Test Subject key. So each time you fuse, you can use 2 play points to summon a test subject. So you can start getting these out really early. Summon 2 copies on summon, and super evolve, you get the crest. And you can get storm on the test subjects. Okay, yep, nope, I can definitely see this package now. Because if you play this out, and you super evo it, all of your Obsessed Test Subjects, for the first one per turn, will get Storm. So if they've got the +3/+3, that could very quickly turn into a decent amount of Storm damage. So, especially if it's in combo with, say, like a Spell Boost. So, very, very doable. we'll have to theory craft some decks with that. I, again, haven't been pulling the alternate art, but here's the alternate art. Got some friends back here. Lastly, we've got Phylene. Here we go. Here's a spell boost card. It is a 10 cost 4/6. On spell boost, you reduce the cost of this card by 1, so you'll be able to get a 10 cost down pretty quickly. Very similar to the other 10 cost rune card, where if you spell boost it, you drop by 1 and it deals 10 to something. Bane Warden Aura with 4/6. Unless you drop it pretty low pretty quickly, I see this being okay. It's not targetable by spells, which is nice, but 4/6 just is not a big enough stat line to survive for even a turn, so this is at best a stopgap, unless you're vomiting out a ton of spell boost cards, which we'll see if that's a thing. Alright, moving along here, we are taking a look at Dragon. Alright, so Dragon has been pretty ramp heavy the past expansion, so let's see if that continues, or if it's going to get some additional support. Alright, so if an allied follower attacked a leader on your last turn, give this follower Storm. And then last words, add a Ripclawed Thief to your hand and remove last words. So it just respawns itself. This could be a solid little aggro push, but for 1/1 for 1 Storm, it's kind of underwhelming. Drake Whelp's Tantrum. We've got summon a Fire Drake Whelp, which is a 1/1 with Intimidate. So we do see some more Intimidate cards. An Enhance 3, deal 3 damage to a random enemy follower. Okay, so you get the Drake Whelp no matter what, but if you play for 3, you can deal 3 damage to a follower, random enemy, so you don't get to target it. That's fine. High-Spirited Marauder, Storm Strike. If an allied follower attacked a leader on your last turn, give this follower +1/+0, so that'll be a 2/2 with Storm. Again, fine. These are so low costs that, yeah, you're going to be able to get some chip damage in, but I don't see this tech doing more than it already does with just your standard sort of big ramp dragon. So, RT Glio. Deal 3 damage split between all enemy followers. If an allied follower attacked a leader on your last turn, deal 6. So this is, again, if you are storming, if you're hitting them in the face, you're able to get a better version of this card, but the 3 between all enemy followers is actually okay on its own for 2. So I'm not upset about that. I think that's a solid card. Parting draws, select 2 cards, discard them, a little bit of discard support. Deal 3 to a random enemy follower and the enemy leaders. This is a 3 cost, deal damage to a follower, and summons the leader, and potentially have some discard synergy. If there's decent discard synergy, this could be good. Cave Dragon, 5/3/4/5. If you're an overflow, so if you're over 7, it just gets a free evolve. So this is just an evolve dragon card with ambush. So this could be a 7/5 ambush, so your opponent can't attack it and has to use random spells to kill it. Could be good. I think for 5 mana, there are better options though. Barren Earth Tyrant. Do this 1 time. Deal 4 damage to a random enemy follower. If an allied follower, you do it 2 times instead. And if you evolve it, you get a copy of this. Okay, so you get another one of these guys that is the attack to leader, gain +1/+0, so you can get a little bit of storm damage in. Again, a lot of chippy stuff. Alright, legendary number 1, we have Anta Maria, Piercing Convict. If an allied follower attacked a leader on last form, you give this follower Storm, and it ignores ward. Okay, so this is a good card for that sort of post-chippy stuff, because this is a 9 damage Storm for 7 with a Super Evo. With Standard Evo, it'll be 8. But that's still a lot of damage for 7. There are other 7 drops that are good in Dragon. I think this might be an include, especially if we're doing like a Storm Dragon. So I would definitely not be surprised to see this. Normagdala, Ravening Revenant. Select a mode to activate, draw a card, restore 3 defense, give all enemy followers on the field -0, -4, and then Evo, it replicates the effects. This is definitely the weaker legendary. I think this is fine. It's a good board clear, but again, I've said it a couple times, but a little underwhelming. Maybe it'll work out well and I'm completely thrown off, but who knows. Dragonfolk Butler, we've got a 8 cost 6/9, restore 3 defense, recover 3 play points. So it's actually really only a 5 cost as long as you get to 8. And on Evo, it gives another follower +3/+3. So this is a solid little buff. you can't play it at 5, you have to wait till 8, so it's a little high cost in my opinion. You do get those 3 play points back though, so it could mitigate it, especially with some of the Storm followers. I'll have to theorycraft it a little bit more, but not terrible. Definitely not the worst. All right, next we're going to take a look at Abysscraft. Abysscraft starts with Ruthless Blitzer, which is just a fanfare, deal 2 damage to both leaders. It's 2/2 for 2. This is a solid aggro card, so Aggro Abyss might be making a comeback at the start of this expansion. Number 2, we got Netherworld Lieutenant, which is a +1/+0 and rush. Oh, excuse me, now, so you summon this, give it +1/+0 and rush, and remove the last words from it. So essentially you get 2 copies of this. The first one's just a 1/1. Second one has rush and +1/+0. Okay, fair enough. That's another good aggro card. Change of the past, we got deal this 1 time, deal 3 damage to a random enemy follower, deal 1 damage to both leaders, and you can do it 2 times with an enhance of 4. Another good aggro card. Looks like we're looking at aggro for Abyss again. Select an ally follow in the field, give it last word, summon a copy of this card. This could be really strong, especially if we have another card that can kill our own cards, because you can very quickly double storm with that. Spooky Surprise, we've got summon a ghost and rotting zombie, pretty basic. Void Kernel at 6 drop, destroy a random enemy follower, restore 2 defense to your leader, and you can crystallize it for 4, so potentially playable. Next up, we got Rampaging Commander, deal 3 damage to all enemy followers, 3 to both leaders. Okay, this is another solid aggro card with a Super Evo, draw 2, deal 1. So really aggro-centric with Abyss this time. Sparkly Demoness, select an enemy follower in the field, destroy it, deal 2 damage to the enemy leader. Cool, yeah, that's 7 cost is getting a bit too pricey for aggro, and it's not a good finisher, so I don't see this card seeing play. Istendet versus Mittelcat. We're gonna go with that. This card, the new legendary for Abysscraft. Do this 3 times, reanimate 2, deal 2 damage to all enemy followers. Okay, cool. So you get to pull some followers back up, and you get to do 6 to each follower. Oh, no, sorry. This is just deal 2. It doesn't do this part 3 times, I don't think. And then Super Evolve, gain Crest, which the crest is if there's an allied field with last words on the field, you destroy the card with last words and random enemy follower. So this is last words bait. Interesting. Very interesting. Not sure how I feel about that one yet. Garadeth versus Zeth. Much easier to pronounce. Thank you for that. Activates in hand at the end of your turn if your leader's defense is 12 or less. Holy crap, we have a leader's defense 12 or less card? Man, we haven't had this since the OG Shadowverse. You reduce the cost by 1, so this can go from an 8 to lower. I don't think that this is going to be good, because in the current state of Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, having your health at 12 is a death sentence. So you would have to get really lucky. Alright, but yeah, you get Fanfare, give it Storm, deal 2 to my leader, or Ward and deal 8 to all enemy followers. This could be good, but man, the fact that your health has to be 12 or less for this to get drop in HP is crazy. Positive side is that it's an 8/8 for 8, so with a Super Evolve, it's going to have Storm, and it's going to swing for, what is that, 11? So that's a good finisher card. So I don't know how often we'll get this 12 or less. It's cool that it's an effect, and it might happen sometimes, but most of the time, this is just going to be a good finisher. All right, moving straight into Haven. What do we got, Haven? Vow of Devotion. Select a mode to activate. If there's an allied card in the field, the base cost of 6 or more, activate all of them instead. Okay, so this is a high cost piece. Deal 3 to a random enemy follower, restore defense to your leader. It's fine. I like the deal 3 to a random enemy follower. I think that'll make it strong enough to be run just on its own. And then the base cost of 6 or more, activate all, is just gravy, essentially. Follower of the Tenets. During your turn, when your leader's defense is restored, evolve this follower. Okay, cool. This is just a nice Evo bait. This could make a really solid addition to like an Evo Haven list. Like maybe the Verdilia list could run this card as a tech. Roaring Ballista. It is a amulet with countdown of 3. Summon a Holy Flame Tiger, which is your 4/4 Tiger. Pretty normal. And deal 4 damage to a random enemy follower. You can pay 3 to advance it by 3. Okay, so essentially you can play this on 2 if you don't have anything, and then on 3 you can pop the Holy Flame and deal 4 to a random follower. This is good for Amulet. I think this will definitely see play in that list. Agent of the Testaments, give his follower ambush until the end of your opponent's turn. So this is not a permanent ambush, this is a short-term ambush. And then at the end of your turn, restore 1 defense to your leader. That makes sense why it's not permanent. Still, haven't seen many non-permanent ambushes, so kind of weird that you would include that. At a 3-cost 1/4, it is potentially playable. I know we ran the Crest 1/4 that had a similar effect, but it was just a flat better card than this. This is just a worse version of it, so I don't see us running very many of this. Miraculous Almirage. We've got your standard Almirage back. It has a Crystallize for 1 with 3, and then advance it by 1 if you pay 1. Or you just play it for 3, and then it is a 2/1 with Storm. So, nice to see her back. I don't know. It's not bad, and it's definitely a good 1-drop. I don't know how often... we'll see. I could definitely see this fitting somewhere in some decks. Alright, Periton. This is our bronze. You just play it and you get 3/3/4s with Rush. Okay, for 6, that's comparable to some of the other cards that other folks have in terms of summoning just a bunch of stuff. I don't see it being, again, very playable, though. I think there's just way better options on 6. Speaking of 6, we have a First Haven Legendary, which is a 6/6 for 6. Ralde Signet Convict. Select enemy follower on the field and destroy it. Then if you evo it, you get the Crest. The Crest is at the end of your turn if there's an allied card in the field with base cost of 6 or more. Another one of these, base 6 or more. Deal 1 to the leader and restore 1 to your leader. Okay, so it's a little ping card. What's interesting is we're getting the Crest here, where Crest, the majority of the Crest package just rotated, so Marwyn's gone. So this won't have that synergy with Marwyn in rotation. And without that, it's just such a small effect that it's one of those things that it's going to be hard to justify running it. Just a small ping, a small heal, even with the other synergies. I just don't see this card seeing a lot of play. Next up, we got the other legendary. It is Omario, Winged Revenant, which is whenever an allied amulet is destroyed, activate an ability in sequence. So deal 3 to 2 random, enemy followers, restore 2 defense, summon a Holy Falcon, which is your 2/2 with Storm. And then on evolve, it destroys all allied amulets. Cool, so this is your new amulet destruction package. You play a bunch of amulets that summon things, and then you evolve this guy, and it summons a bunch of stuff. Next up, we got Horatio, one of the two, which is a fanfare destroy all followers. All right, we got this back. It's a fanfare as opposed to an engage, so it is slightly worse than the old version. Back in the first expansion, whose name escapes me right now, but it's still a fanfare destroy all followers. So this is potentially really, really, really good, and I am 100% sure this will see play in most Haven lists. And then it has the engage 1, destroy it, draw, and restore 1 defense. Lastly, we've got Executor of the Vow. It is a gold 6/6/4/7. Has a fanfare, restore 2 defense to your leader. During your turn, whenever your leader's defense is restored, destroy a random enemy follower. Decent. And then Super Evolve, you just restore another 2 health, which is a pretty crappy Super Evolve effect, but you could play it potentially, especially if you're running the Super Evolve package with Rodilia and Olivia. And that is it for Haven. So finally, we are going to take a look at Portalcraft. Portalcraft starts with another 1/1 for 1. A lot of 1-drops this expansion, I'm noticing. Which is, if there's no duplicates in your deck, select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 5 damage. So this is a one-off list card. So you don't run duplicates and you run this. Interesting. It is a 1/1 for with Rush, which isn't horrible at base anyway, although you do have the 3/1 artifact, so I don't know that this will see play. We haven't seen many no duplicates in your deck cards in general, so maybe we'll see a bunch of that with the rest of these cards. Disgraceful Banishment, no duplicates in your deck. Banish all copies of this card from your deck, and then if there are no duplicates in your deck, gain the Crest. When you play follower, evolve it once per turn. Potentially, we could do the crazy no duplicate list. Could bring back, what's his name? The no duplicates summon or your deck is destroyed and you get a full list of cards. I don't know if that's rotated out or not, but I could see that being played if that was the thing. Next up, we got Twin Drone Engineer, which just has Fanfare, Summon an Analyzing Artifact, which is your 1/1 draw. And then if you Evo it, you get another Analyzing. So this could be 2 draw with a board of 5/5 and the 2/1/1s. Not terrible. I think UD's better with just the one that you play for 3, but I definitely think this is a solid card. 2 draw is always nice. Ironwork Bodyguard, if there are new duplicates in your deck, select an enemy follower in the field, deal it 4 damage, and restore 4 defense to your leader. Again, fine. Any direct damage to cards is good, especially when we saw some more Intimidate-centered stuff. That being said, it's that no duplicates in your deck thing that's... it's got me sketched out a little. I don't know that that's going to be something that is going to play very much. All right, next we got Soul Forge. We got select an enemy follower in your deck and destroy it. If there are no duplicates, destroy all enemy followers. This is just good at 4. It's just kill a thing for 4. So I think that's solid. I think that'll see play. Steel Forged. Select an enemy follower on the deck and destroy it. If there are no duplicates, give it Storm. So it's a 3/3 for 5. So really, this is only it's okay on its own, but it's only really good with the no duplicates. And even then, I don't think it's that great. Blade Puppeteer, summon an Enhanced Puppet, which is the 3/3 with Rush, and a normal Puppet, which is a 1/1 with Rush. And then whenever an allied follower enters the field, deal 1 damage to the enemy leader. So you could potentially do some pings, kind of like Gildaria in Sword. What else we got? We got Dimensional Selection. You get to pick one of 2 modes. You can either get 2 4/5s, or you can deal 5 to all enemies for 6. That's okay. And lastly, we've got our final legendary of the set. We've got we've got Izadin Killshot Revenant, which has Fanfare summon a Warden of the Trigger, which has Ward and last words restore 2 defense. Cool. Whenever an allied artifact enters the field, destroy an enemy follower. It is 7 costs, so you're not going to be able to play a lot of artifact followers, but could still be good. And you get another copy with a Super Evo. So decent, but not crazy. Alrighty, and that is a very quick rundown of the cards that are going to be coming out on, I believe, Wednesday morning. So in a few hours from now, they'll be launching. So very, very excited to see how the meta starts laying out. And of course, as that happens, I'll be covering some decks. I think first couple ones will be maybe an aggro Abyss deck, maybe a sword list. But I've got a lot of deck building, a lot of thoughts to do. I will, especially at the start, probably film that while I'm sort of getting an idea of how the decks are going to fit together, as well as covering the actual games themselves. So look forward to that. I'll put my first one up hopefully tomorrow, but we'll see how things play out, how shake out. I think the set in general looks pretty stable. It doesn't look like it's going to throw anything that's crazy at us. It doesn't have anything that looks blatantly concerning, blatantly red flaggy. I think more than anything, we're going to feel the rotation of like Gilnalese. Then we're going to see the positive effects of this particular set. So very interested to see how things play out, and we'll take a look starting tomorrow. So thanks again for watching, and of course, as usual, if you liked the video, feel free to leave that like, comment, or subscribe. It does help me out quite a bit. And as always, thank you so much, and have a fantastic rest of your day.